Good morning. Good morning. Hope you're feeling good and bright and breezy this morning. So we're going to take a fairly active class to get the body moving and probably feel a little bit warmer. If you haven't ever practiced yoga early in the morning before, you will maybe find it's quite a different experience in a good way, but also be cautious of the fact that you might feel a little bit stiffer, which is kind of why we're doing this, right? But at the same time, if you do feel stiff around your hips, your lower back, and your knees, you might even hear and feel some creaking and cracking, which is actually fine. Okay, it's normal as long as it doesn't hurt. Then just know that you might just want to take things a little bit less intense until you become more familiar with how the body feels moving around. So let's start off and actually not this position, unless you feel that you can't. See how it feels to sit back on the heels, the legs fairly close together. Don't force the knees into this. You can always take a seated cross-leg position if you need to. Let's bring the hands down on the legs, shoulders down, lift the chest, lift the spine, balance the head, maybe close the eyes for a few breaths and begin to power up the breath. So part of our waking up process is to deepen the breath. And when we're sleeping, the breath is very, very shallow. It's very slight for the most part, not all the way through the whole sleep cycle. But when we're waking up, we just need to build the breath a little bit more. So breathing in and out through the nose, expanding, contracting. One more like this. And the next one, we're going to move the body and continue with that breath. Interlace the fingers, press the palms forward. Inhale, reach the hands over the head. And then exhale, round. So as you're rounding, press the palms forward again. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach. And exhale, round. Inhale, reach up and release the hands. This time, interlace the fingers behind, knuckles outwards as you reach the hands behind, roll the shoulders back, squeeze the elbows towards each other, but see if you can then straighten the arms. The hands may lift from the hips. So lifting to squeeze the shoulder blades together, open the front side of the chest and drop the head over to the right side. Gentle wake up of the neck. Over to the left side. And then releasing. Bringing yourself onto hands and knees. Now we're going to change things up quite a lot here. So a typical tabletop position with the main difference is turning the hands the other way. Now see if that's feasible. If it isn't feasible, then turning the fingers outwards instead of all the way towards the knees. Now, don't force the wrists to do that. It might not feel good if you did that. And certainly you could make your tabletop position slightly shorter because of that intense, deep stretch in the back of the wrist. Try and spread the fingers. Try to keep the arms straight. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, round. As you round in, check out what's going on with your wrists here. So be gentler if you need to. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale and round. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale and round. Inhale, lifting the chest up and releasing the hands to face the normal conventional way we would with a tabletop position. Now open the knees wide, bring the big toes to touch, gently pressing the hips towards the heels without forcing that action or position. And with the arms reaching out in front, come onto fingertips, lifting the wrists and forearms and staying active through the palms of the hands. Same time, body, abdomen to the space, the face, so thereabouts. Steady breaths. Breathe in the lower back, the waist. And then keeping the hands in the same position, the spider finger position, reach the hands over to the left for 3 breaths. And over to the right for 3 breaths. Bring the hands back to center. And then wrists shoulder width, fingers spread forward. Tuck the toes, feet hip width apart, knees as well. When you're bringing the feet to the floor, the knees can move hip width. Lift the knees, breathe in, breathing out, lifting the hips and the chest towards the thighs. Really energizing right down into the fingers, the base of the first finger, the knuckle on the first finger. You can keep the legs bent if you need to. And now walking the hands back. So the weight is in the feet only. Let's take the feet wider than your hips, maybe even as wide as your mat, depending on how your back feels this morning. So the knees bent. Release your arms. The hands don't have to touch the floor. It depends really how far you're folding and what it feels like for you. Try to move the belly between the thighs and finding some space here in the lower back, the spine, the hips, the legs, so everything getting activated, energized. We're going to begin to round or curl up, roll the spine up to stack. So begin to stack from the lower back, mid back, as you're breathing to the top of the breath here, the head coming up last, so that you're standing tall. Inhale, reach the arms up. You can go wide or forward. And then as you're breathing out, bend the knees, reaching wide, bringing the hands to the floor. You need to bend your knees to get the hands down. Now we're going to crawl the hands forward so the wrists are now under the shoulders, feet hip width here. Breathe in at the top of the plank and breathing out to the floor. So lowering upper body down onto the mat. Untuck the toes and then breathe in, lift the chest to cobra, shoulders down. And then breathing out. Now we're going to take a wider position with the hands, fingertips, spider hands again, probably off your mat, or would probably say definitely off your mat, right? So inhale, heart forward, exhale and lower. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. And then exhale, bringing the palms back under shoulders, tuck the toes, press to the knees, and then moving back into downward dog. Begin to pedal the legs, alternating, bending, extending through each side, sometimes called walking the dog, warming up through the feet as well. So as you're bending and moving the legs, rolling through to bend the toes as much as you feel comfortable to do so. Really important to wake up the back chain of the body through the feet. And walking the hands back this time. Again, bringing the weight to the feet. Again, feet wider than your hips, bend the knees and fold forward. Now we can add a little swinging action. Your arms are not on the floor. You can kind of dangle the arms, or you can hold the elbows if it feels, do it that way. And then coming to center, rising up by curling up again. Begin to stack the vertebra as you're breathing in, bringing the head up at the top. Inhale, reach up all the way, and then straight all the way down into that folded position again. And we're going to bring the hands forward, crawl or walk the hands back under the shoulders, feet hip width. Inhale at the top. Exhale as you lower all the way to the floor. So one cobra, fingertips, spider hands off your mat. Breathe in. And breathe out, fold. Lowering down, folding back to the floor. Press to the hands and knees. And tuck the toes for downward dog. From our downward dog position, I want you to lift the right leg, extend it out behind, but then bend your right knee and roll your right hip open. So purposely twisting around your pelvis and the lower back, and feel like you can really yawn open your right hip thigh and into the side of the waist. Still pressing the chest back. You can keep your left knee bent. Don't feel you have to straighten the leg. And let's draw a big circle with the right knee. So really working into the right hip joint. This is where you might notice all those creaks and cracks today. And then we're going to bring the right foot back to the floor. We're going to do the second side, lift the left leg. And then bend the left knee and roll open again on the side body, hip, thigh, and waist. And then exhale as you lower the left foot to the floor, walking the hands back, feet a bit wider than your hips, if you like. I mean, you don't have to keep going wider. Wider tends to feel a little bit more accessible, but depending on how you're feeling, you might feel that you're feeling good enough not to have to do that. Or you might get more stretch by not taking your feet wider. Take a few breaths, let the spine hang down forward. You might even check in, notice your neck, hips, shoulders, and let the weight of the head lengthen the spine. You'll roll up through the vertebra again. Inhale as you're rising up. Coming all the way to stand. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale as you fold all the way down, and you've got it. We're going to crawl the hands forward, wrists under shoulders. Inhale, feet hip width. Exhale as you lower down. Inhale, cobra, fingertips down, heart forward. Exhale as you lower. Press the palms and transition once more into downward dog. And we're going to lift the right leg high again. Bend the knee, create that yawning sensation. Look forward, step the right foot between the hands. And then we're going to keep your right knee directly over your right ankle. Let's spin the left heel down to the floor. So the legs are in a warrior two stance, but we're going to reach off the mat and come to spider fingers again. Keep the back leg firm and your right knee moving wide, sending the hips back. So fingertips just helps to keep the arms and hands active here. Press into the outer edge of the back left foot. And then we're going to walk the hands to center. So you're going to swivel the feet probably about parallel to each other, or maybe slightly turned out to the side. We're going to extend the hip, we're going to bend into the left back knee, more or less depending on how it feels, and then go over to the right leg bending. Definitely one of those postures where you feel the creaks and cracks, okay? So depending on how it's feeling, you might go lower. You can extend the right leg and lift the chest, or you can stay higher with the hips. And if you're staying higher with the hips, just going side to side and see how it feels. We're going to finish on the second right side, so coming towards the front of your mat and then spinning towards the front over the right leg and step back. Vinyasa as you lower down. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left leg bends, yawn, open the left hip. Exhale, left foot forward. Spin the right heel down. Keep the left knee over your left ankle and reach the hands, fingertips off the right side of your mat. Left knee moving wide, back leg is as straight as you can and pressing into the outer edge of the right back foot. Again, we'll take that lunging action side to side. So walk the hands roughly to center and spin or pivot the feet. Toes wider, toes turned out wider can give you a bit more space in your hips. So see how it feels. And of course, we've already done it once. So maybe the second time here, you can explore a little bit lower, if maybe, and then over second side. So moving nice and steady, slowly side to side, no rush. And keep your hand, or maybe you're feeling comfortable, you can lift, maybe. We'll go over to the first side, but then of course finish. We'll go into the second side, don't forget the second side, and spin over the left leg. Press the palms, wrists under shoulders, exhale and lower. Inhale, cobra. And then exhale as you press back. One more breath here. To find the fullness of your breath. From here, step walk, or maybe if you've got the energy to jump the feet to the top of your mat. Have the feet hip width apart. So create hip width spacing, and then keeping the spacing of this hip width position, step your right foot back. So it's not a super, super long lunge, long enough to feel the sense of having the feet wide, but not so that you're going to tipple over and you're going to feel unsteady. So my back right toes are almost facing forward and my feet are still hip width apart. Now explore extension in the left leg. Fingertips are useful with spider fingers again. Extend out through the left leg, maybe. Squeeze your right hip forward. Look forward, lift the chest, breathe in. And then breathe out, fold. So again, choosing how you feel here with your legs, this sensation. You might even like to walk the hand over to the left side, so across the left front leg. As if you could go slightly further beyond, maybe not necessarily down, but across the body slightly on the right side stretch. Try and pull your left hip back, right hip forward. Squeeze, scissor the inner thighs towards each other. And then releasing back to center. So from here, we'll take the hands in contact with the floor, and we're going to step the right foot forward back to hip width position. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, step the left foot back to repeat the same posture on the second side. So steady stance, back toes facing almost forward. Right leg extending or feels like you're stretching in the right leg. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, folding in. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Draw your left hip forward. Maybe walk the hands across to your right side. Squeeze or scissor the inner thighs together. Draw the right hip back. And then exhale, release to center. And then bringing your left foot forward. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, come and have a seat on the floor. Okay. You're going to have the feet forward of your hips. Actually, let's start off with the legs extended. Let's try it this way. Legs extended, mirror image, right ankle or right outer edge of the right foot onto the left lower thigh. So just above the left knee. See how it feels to do this. So the right knee is sort of dropping down. It might not be down, but it's that sensation of going wide and down. Use the hands on the floor, either to the side or behind you. Lift your chest, lift and bring the pelvis to an upright position. So try not to lean back, which is maybe exactly where you're feeling this. When you pull the pelvis upright, maybe feeling it in your right hip. So this is what I would call stage 1. This is a nice way just to see how it feels in your right leg and your hip. Stage 2 is to lean back into the hands more and bend the left knee so that the left foot is flat to the floor, with the right leg still doing the same thing. Of course, we've got a whole different set of sensations going on here now as well. They're a little bit more intense for most people. You can have your left foot further forward. You don't have to have it all the way in. And if you're feeling pretty good here still and you want more sensation, walk the hands in closer towards your pelvis so you're sitting even more upright, as if you could bring the chest up and over the top of that right shin. 2 or 3 more breaths here. And then releasing to bring. Let's start off with the straight leg position. There's a nice way to prepare and set up. Left ankle across onto the right base of the right thigh. And hands behind. Lift the chest. Bring the pelvis upright. Let the left knee drop down. You can stay here. Don't have to go to this more complex variation. It's the same sort of stretch. See how it feels to bring the chest up and over. You can walk the hands in if this feels accessible for you. And then we'll release. We'll release the second side and lay down on your back. Hug the knees in. Squeeze the thighs close towards your chest or abdomen and rock side to side. Steadily on the back of the spine and pelvis area, so lower back pelvis, as you rock side to side. Hopefully feeling good now around the lower back, the legs, certainly the parts of the body where I'm tight most mornings, depending on how much sleep I got. Sometimes if I had less sleep, I feel more tight, less rested. But it's good to get the back chain of the body moving before our day, and to help the whole nervous system wake up. Okay, we're going to finish the practice instead of Shavasana, and of course you can take a laid down rest if you prefer, but otherwise, if you feel that that might be counterintuitive to your wake up, if you have a busy day ahead today, then you might want to sit upright. It's not the same. You can do both. You can do Shavasana lay down if you like that rest, of course. That's a great thing to do too. Rest the hands on the legs, shoulders down, lift the chest, balance the head, maybe close the eyes. Sit tall. Feel an effort to sit upright. Elongate the spine, but now allowing the breath to slow down. Let the breath regulate back to your natural breathing pattern. With your awareness, your full attention, your mental attention, your mental focus to rest with your breath and stay with your breath. So staying present to the sensation of your breath moving in and moving out. So following the breath, present in and out of the body. for what is about 10 breaths. That's where we're roughly going here. So about 10 breaths in, 10 breaths out, steady, slow, no effort to breathe itself, but just the effort to observe. Thank you for your practice this morning. Have a great day. Let me know how you get on today. Have a good one. Namaste.